Hi everyone, Tara here. Sorry about the silly hat today. I'm having a bit of a hair day. But today I wanted to log in really quickly. We didn't set up an event with a painting or anything, but I did want to check in. I know we've been saying we've been trying to check in every day around noon to give you guys an activity. So today I actually wanted to go over with you guys how you can create your own paper mache masks. And it doesn't have to be a mask. Once you kind of get this mix going, you can create whatever you want. So I'm going to show you guys the basics. And the reason why I decided to do this tutorial today is because I know a lot of people have been running out of supplies, and paper mache is awesome because it literally takes some water, some flour, just good old-fashioned flour, and some paper. And this here is actually just packing paper. It was in a purse that I got as a gift. So I just kind of pulled out all the paper from there, and I'm going to use this to make my paper mache. So you can literally use any kind of paper, recycled paper, you can use newspaper, some stuffing that was in a package that you had. The sky's the limit. It's a really, really great way to recycle. You can create something out of garbage pretty much, right? So I never throw away paper. I always save it. One of the projects that I do with my high school students is paper mache masks, so it always comes in handy. We'll go ahead and I'll show you guys how to make the actual paste. And the cool thing about this paste is if you guys have some left over, you can go back to the video that I showed before about making your own paints. And the paste that's left over, you could actually just separate it and add the food coloring to it and make a paint that you can then paint your mask with. So it's really, really cool. It's really versatile. So what we're gonna do, I've got the cup here, and I'm just gonna pour some water into my flour. And the flour was filled up about here. And really, there's no special mix. You're really just kind of looking for the proper texture. Now, there's a lot of ways to make paper mache. One way you can do is flour and water just like this, and you actually boil it down until it makes kind of like a glue. And then you use that glue substrate to actually, dip the paper in. And a lot of people like that method because it stiffens a little bit faster. But what I found with cooking the flour and water mix is that it can mold. So I found this to be a really good method because it doesn't tend to mold. And it's really, really easy, and it's just flour and water. So let's see, I made kind of like a watered down paste. Let me see if I can bring that down so you guys can see how watery it is. All right. And what's gonna happen is when I dip this paper into this paste, it's gonna harden like really, really like a rock. So it works really, really well. Another thing that you can do if you don't have flour, or if you're nervous, like maybe you're in a really humid climate, you can use half glue, half water, and that also works really, really well. The reason why I don't like to use that though is because it's a little bit more messy and it's hard to get off your hands. And especially when I'm like working with the students and stuff, and they're like, really touchy, let them have their nails done and stuff like that, so they want something that they can just easily wash off their hands. So just flour and water, and I would say it'd be about 2 parts flour, 1 part water. That'll give you a good paste. All right, so you want it to be quite kind of runny. And then to make the actual mask, we're going to take this paper here. All right, and I'm going to just fold it a couple of times because I am wanting to get the most out of my effort here. So I'm going to fold this paper a couple times. And I'm just going to cut it right along the edge here. And that'll give me my strips. Now the strips, they don't have to be any particular size, but you do want to get it down to where you have some paint strips so that you can then pull these paint strips through the flour solution, and that'll cause it to harden. Right. So I'm just cutting these to show you. These are pretty good size. So the strips about this thick is good, I would say. That's a good kind of width. All right. And to make the mask, there's a couple things that you can do to get the shape that you want. One thing you can do is you can actually take the paper and you can stuff the paper and tape it into the shape that you want, and then you can actually put the paper mache right over that. One good way, this is going to kind of be embarrassing to do on screen, but it's a really good method, is actually you can use tin foil and you can press the tin foil against your face to get a mold. And it's my better judgment. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. I already have a goofy hat on, so you know it's okay if I. Okay, so we're going to take this and you just put it right on your face, all right? And you can go into all the crevices. All right, woo. So I got my face shape there. All right, so now that I know when I put this foil or the paper mache over the foil, this is gonna definitely fit my face, all right? So this is a mask for me, right? So now that I've got my foil, and now one thing about it is if you don't have a very thick foil, this foil will kind of change its shape very easily. So you always want to start with one layer of paper mache so it doesn't weigh down the foil, and that way it really retains that shape. So now that I've got my foil, I'm going to take my paper strips. All right, so I got my paper strips here, and I'm just dipping them right in here. Don't worry if it gets on your hands, because again, it's just flour and water, so it'll come right out. All right, so I got this here, and then I'm just going to lay it right over the top of my tin foil, just like that. All right, I'll do another one for you guys. And what I would recommend is doing sort of like a weaving pattern, so that way it has like everything is kind of nicely covered. All right, and I'm just dipping this through. Let me bring this down so you guys can probably see it a little better here. And again, I'm just going to start with one layer. I'll show you guys. It's going all the way down. And I'll post a picture onto this stream of a finished product. And then I'll log back into tomorrow and kind of show you guys the next steps. We'll remove the foil so you guys can see what it looks like and how it retained its shape. And this is a really good project if you are an art teacher or you have students or maybe you're homeschooling. This is a really great project for form. When my students are learning about form for the California state standards, this is the project that we usually do. And then the students will talk about or utilize that language when they are talking about their masks and how they used form to create art. Now, form is different than shape, right? Because shape is, well, I guess let's go ahead. I'll go over the elements of art for you guys real quickly. So it's a little bit of a learning experience. So kind of the first thing that you learn about in high school art is line, right? And line, a lot of people know what a line is, but they don't know how to define it, right? But a line is actually, it is the movement of a point or the space between 2 points on a page, all right? Now, when those points connect, or when that line connects and closes, that's what creates a shape. Now, shape doesn't have to be a recognizable shape. It could be, you know, a blob or whatever. As long as that line has a meeting point, it becomes a shape. Now, once that shape becomes three-dimensional, so by adding value to it, and value is the lights and darks, so value can often be called like shading. So if you add shading to that shape, then it can become a form. All right, and so that's what we're doing right now. Is we're not creating a flat piece or flat shape. We're actually creating a three-dimensional form of the mask. And all right, so I'm getting nice and messy over here. I'll show you guys here in just a second how this kind of came together. I know it's hard to see from there. But, so here we go. Here's my face mask, and then I just put just one line going in the same direction all the way down. All right, and you can kind of see it's a bit drippy, but that's okay. All right, and again, make sure that this layer dries completely before you do the next layer. And I would suggest maybe doing 3 layers would be good. My next layer, I'm actually going to start layering all these, but I'm going to go this way. So I'm going to go almost like a weave. So they're going to go all the way across, laying this way. And these ones are going all the way across, laying this way. And so it creates kind of like a weave pattern. But again, depending on how thick your foil is, you want to make sure that you don't do too many layers, because that's just going to flatten the foil. And you want to be able to retain that shape. Right, so this is my face shape. So I know that once this dries, this mask is going to fit perfectly on my particular face. But remember, it doesn't have to be a mask, and you don't have to use tin foil on your face if you don't want to do that, or maybe you don't have tin foil. You can just take the paper, and you can actually take the paper and just stuff it. Right, like if I wanted to take this and I just wrinkled it all up. Right, we got a nice fresh one here. And I wrapped it. I might want to get a little tape or something. Right, and I can kind of push this together to create the face shape that I want. So maybe it's not a mask for you particular. And then I could just, go ahead and tape this, and then I can start putting the strips along this to get a face shape like that if you guys don't have foil. Or maybe you're not making a mask that's special for you. Or maybe you're not making a mask at all. When I was in high school, I made a turtle with my paper mache. So, you just give me my turtle shell if I wanted it to, right? And then you can stuff all those pieces and just wrap it with that paper mache substrate. If you guys have left over too, so this paste here, again, was just flour and water, all right? And when I'm done with this flour and water mixture, I don't have to waste it, because all I need to do is add some food coloring to it, right? And it becomes paint. And then I can use this food coloring paint that I've made to then paint my mask. So it's really, really cool, because these materials are just around the house. It's super, super easy. And you can make something very, very incredible with paper mache. Paper mache tends to turn out really awesome. I'll show you guys some examples tomorrow. Unfortunately, all the paper mache masks I've done are actually at the school site, and we're on quarantine, so I haven't been able to go into the school. But I do have some pictures that I'll post on this thread of some of the paper mache masks that my students have made and that I've made. We've done deers, we've done cartoon characters. Sky's the limit. I can even show you guys a little turtle I made when I was in high school, so you guys can get some ideas. So I'll make sure to add some to there. But tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this. Once it kind of sets, we'll do the next layer. And so tomorrow I'll show you guys, I'll go ahead and unveil that mask. We'll pull the foil out and you guys can see the shape. I'll show you guys how to trim it and how to prep it for painting. So it's a really fun project. If you guys are just sitting at home, I super recommend it. Again, all you really need is some water, some flour, and some paper. And this paper doesn't have to be special paper. Again, this is my mom actually for my birthday last week. She got me a Kate Spade purse. It was amazing. And all this packing paper came in just that one little purse, right? So rather than throwing it away, I'm gonna make some art with it, make some paper mache. And I could probably make a lot of paper mache with this. So, conserve. You can use that packing paper, newspaper, scratch paper. You can even use like old envelopes for mail that you don't want, or maybe mail that's like ads. You can go ahead and cut that out, and don't even worry if it has print on it, because we're going to paint right over that print. You won't even see it once we add the layer of print. And sometimes, actually, I've seen some masks that were made from like comic books, like prints, not the actual comic book, but they're like comics, or comics from the newspapers. That could look really cool too. Even if you didn't want to have to paint it later. But again, I'll show you guys kind of how this looks here. So it's just very simple, right? I did one layer and then let that sit, let that layer harden before you do your other 2 layers. And remember, you're going to do a crisscross pattern. So going up in this way and then going across this way. All right, and then up again and then across. So you want to do about 3 or 4. I think that's a good solid amount, and that mask will be really, really sturdy. There's another thing you can do too. It's called cloth mache. That tends to look like really, really realistic, like a mask you would buy in a store. But with cloth mache, you can do like an old sheet that you're not using anymore, or any sheet kind of material that you have. You can drive it right through the same mix that we've just made. And rather than using paper, you can use cloth, and the finish is like really, really nice. So sky's the limit. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And then again, sorry for my bad hair day today. But I'll log in tomorrow. We'll show you guys a little progress on those. We can paint the masks, answer any questions that you guys have. And then we will be doing another painting very, very soon, so look out for Eventbrite. We're trying to log in daily. It's kind of a crazy time right now, though. It's just like all these moving parts. But we'll definitely be logging in again tomorrow with these masks, and we'll have a little bit more news about what we're going to be painting next as well. So thank you guys for logging in. I hope you're doing okay out there and enjoying your time with your family. Keep it busy. I know I'm trying to. And I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.